Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, good. You can hear me. We know the audio is working.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Marvelous. I think we're good to go. All right. See my cat sleeping?
So, what time are you in? East Coast or?
Yes, we're in East Coast. It's 9:49 in the morning here.
Okay.
For some reason in my brain this morning, I woke up and I thought you were in Minnesota. So I was like, shit, gotta get on the call. And then you weren't there. I sat there for 20 minutes before I was like, didn't I say Colorado?
I was like, I know I put mountain time every time because it always throws people off.
It totally does. It's okay. I work with Hawaii and California. Yeah. So my time zones are all over the place.
At least for you, it's like when sometimes I do lectures that are on East Coast time, it's like especially like I do a lot of A4M stuff.
Yeah.
They normally start, if you're there, sometimes a lot of times at 7:30. And then if I'm streaming it from here, it's like 5:30.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I've got a couple guys over with A4M over in Hawaii. God, yeah. It's always the end of the day when they call, and for them, it's like 5 o'clock in the morning.
For sure.
All right, we got about 10 minutes before people start popping on, I assume, right?
Yep.
Well,
and I've also got you up in our conference room because there'll be some people here in our conference room too.
Excellent. Is there any particular things that you want me to cover for you?
I think like the big things would be, one about using it for fasting, that how you can, we see a lot of warden cancer patients. So the safety for cancer patients.
Okay.
And then, just about kind of like the absorption and I think leveling out, because we also, we're integrative psych. So, leveling out the amino acids and the neurotransmitters.
Yeah.
I think is in those patients is particularly important. So that's one of the other reasons I kind of use it a lot for our patients.
Yeah, there's it seems to be kind of an oversight that happens way too often. The human's ability to produce hormones it's from an immediate need. Like hormones are a physical element the body has to produce. It's not a metaphysical concept. So we have to have an input to produce them. Generally speaking, when you have people that are highly anxious or depressed, you can relate that directly back to the body's ability to have the material to produce the hormones needed to level everything out. Yeah. So it's an oversight all the time. But I mean, being integrative psych, that might be very important for a lot of your therapists to understand that, a lot of it goes back to you. So
yeah, we're working on that.
Just get them amino acids. You can't make dopamine if you don't have the material to make dopamine.
Yep. So touching on those things I think would be good for, because I don't know if any of that, we have 3 therapists, mental health nurse practitioner, and then our nursing staff who works our IV room. So we'll see who else is gonna end up showing up this morning. We have I think I had a list. And then like our front office staff is pretty knowledgeable and they're gonna sit in as well as the nursing. And so they, a lot of sales in a sense can be done in our IV room, like when the nurses are seeing patients and they like to kind of decompress and talk, because we have NAD patients, who are here for hours. We do NAD, ketamine, high dose
Yeah.
vitamin C. Do you know anything about that Pure C that was there?
No, I don't. I know Dr. Minkoff uses it. It's in our Super Myers, but I don't know much.
He is using it. Okay.
Yeah, he uses it. So we've got a flu Meyer. We've got 4 different Myers cocktails that we use, and the Super C is in this, or the Super C, is that what it's called?
Pure C.
Pure C.
Yeah.
Pure C. Pure C is in the Super Myers.
Okay.
So, I mean, yeah. So it's been in my body, but funny enough, I don't know much about it.
Is he? Oh no, he's not, because I saw him looking at that AO scan thing.
Yeah, I looked at it. I was interested in getting deeper into it and picking up a portable one of the little phone ones.
Yeah, they said those are 500. I found like 3 Facebook pages that are like AO scan. So I joined those to see if I could like stalk them to see kind of what was really, and if it was worth the investment. The one thing I struggle with is patients having the money to do all the functional medicine lab tests. And so I was wondering if I mean, you can't technically use it, but I mean, I think you could document that the patient refuses to follow through with, or they don't have the financial resources to
manage everything, do all the needed testing.
Yeah, to do the testing. And then I think maybe you could use that, and as a, patient understands this is not, I think if you document it, patient understands that this is not, FDA approved for treatment regimens, and that treatment will be based off symptoms. But we've,
it's a price alternative.
Yeah. Cause it seems like you could do a, scan for people almost free or for like $50 and still get your money back.
Yeah. There's the challenge, like he was looking at the $30,000 unit, and it goes into possible prescriptions, supplements.
You can imprint.
Yeah.
I find, like, I want to see studies on that, like the imprinting of sugar pills that work in the same way as the actual prescription or supplement. That seems really like hard for me to like
wrap your brain around,
my mind around it.
Yeah. There's a doctor. Well, I guess he's a biologist and a scientist that's here in Florida that has a water machine that he can imprint mineral content into, and it is. In testing, it shows that there is that mineral content there, and he's not actually providing any input, only the energy, but he's able to add zinc, magnesium, manganese, vitamin C, vitamin D. He can add all of these elements into his drinking water from this giant machine contraption. It's the way he explained it to me was very interesting. He's like, well, are you your body? Or are you this energy source of this being inside your body? If you can, you take your being away from your body, do you stop being you? It's the same concept. It's like all of these things are carriers for the energy in them. And I'm like, okay, that's a little bit of a stretch, but we'll go with it.
Yeah. It is a little mind stretching. I mean, I believe in like the energy, and, we all were taught by Einstein that it doesn't leave, it just moves. And I actually, have you heard of this guy, Joe or Joel Dispenza? He's a like meditation guru. One of my patients came in and he had done a workshop with him, and like, he is like literally on another planet right now because of his like vibrations in the meditation.
That can't be him. Joel.
I thought, let me, I have it written down.
I see him. Guided meditation.
he told me like when he went to the retreat, they were the meditation retreat thing, and like the process this the guy teaches, he that he's actually measuring everything scientifically with the patients. And like showing like collecting data and documentation and like reversing things like Lyme and all like crazy stuff like that. And I mean, it was really interesting because you could tell this patient, like you could tell he was vibrating and that he had been really opened up.
Right on.
And so he came back and he talked to me about it. He's like, I've been crying. He's like, my heart chock. And this is a guy that we like has done so much work on addiction. Like he used to inject meth and all kinds of crazy stuff. And he's done a lot of work on himself. And he was just like, I don't even feel like I need Xanax. He's like, I just stopped drinking caffeine. He's like, I don't even need it. He's like, I have the, like, he's just like, you know,
fantastic.
like energy field. But it kind of reminded me of that AO scanner in a sense, like in a lot of the ways that he was talking about, because, you know, it was the energy and the vibration fields. And like, he did that through a technique versus that machine.
Yeah. I mean, it obviously is possible. That machine's it's very interesting. The Dr. Minkoff didn't go with it because at the end of the day, he's like, what do you do with this information? Like, there's no,
I know,
like DNA marker 49 is out. Okay. That means
it is.
what do you do with that?
Yeah. What do you do with the information?
Yeah.
But their whole thing is that you use that vibrations or sound to reverse the healing. And that's the part, like, I just don't know if they have a lot of research on like, okay, the machine says that you have 6 parasites. Is that validated, you know, in PCR gut test or PCR testing? And then if you do that, you know, their therapy does, you know, is that revalidated by another test that the treatment worked? And that's the problem that I saw when I talked to him. I was like, what evidence or studies do you have? And it's just all user evidence.
Yeah, it's all hyperbole.
Like they have a lot of scientific. Yeah, it doesn't seem like they have a lot of scientific research behind it.
No, they don't. No, and I was lucky enough. I've just done a round of close to $5,000 in tests on myself. So, yeah, I have a very good insight onto what's going on in my own body. And, there was a couple markers that were accurate, and a lot of them that just may not be. It was very ambiguous. There was nothing that was just downright wrong. As long as I stretch my memory and understanding of things that I've been in contact with over an extended period of time, that's not actually in my system now, but the energy could be, right? Like, yeah, sure. So nothing invalidated it, but nothing made me go, fuck, I've got to get it. Pardon my English.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
The only thing I was thinking, like I said, was because I'm constantly looking for ways and tools to like reduce cost of testing for patients, because that seems to be kind of one of the major sticking points when I see patients. And like, I mean, just like to do a kind of full gut workup's $1,000.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely. Just did it.
Yeah. I've started using Genova with their insurance base, but it's a kind of a pain in the ass because we've been using Vibrant, and we kind of make money on that in the sense because of how much we upsell it because of the processing thing. And then when you take Genova without the insurance, you can't do that, but patients want to use their insurance.
Right on. Catherine White, how are you? Put me in your bathroom, huh? You're on mute.
I'm so sorry.
No, don't be sorry. Good morning.
me go
So-
see where some of these people are.
All right, no worries. It's a lovely ceiling fan.
Sorry, I'm like going between kids and everything like that, and I'm like,
I totally get it.
sorry. You're gonna get to see my beautiful ceiling for like
It's
5 more
fantastic.
seconds.
That's no worries. You do you.
Okay. I have the office crews on their way. I'd give you I'd send you some bagels if I could,
Hey, you know,
even though they're not
it's
gluten
okay.
free.
I couldn't eat them anyway.
You see, let's see. Oh, wait, you can kind of, I'll adjust it. You can kind of see our crew here.
Right on. You've got a video up, huh?
Yeah, I've got you on the big screen.
Right on. Do you see this infinite mirror? Can you see the videos of you guys?
Yeah, I can see you in the corner.
Okay. Well, I mean, like I've got the images over the PowerPoint.
Oh, no, it's not.
Okay.
I can see the PowerPoint.
Right on.
Yeah, I've got you in the corner.
Catherine's like, no more video.
I just diminished you.
Okay, we'll be here. I'm coming, sorry.
That's okay.
Hey, I was coming in 2 and 9 for us. Oh, today? Yeah, at 9 for us. Oh, no, yeah, 9. So, okay, I will be for that. You wanna sit here, Renee?
Yeah, that's
I'm
fine.
gonna go, hold on, let me just get more. Yeah, Gabby's in the back, to be honest, so what I could do is, we'll figure it out.
You can have one of your bagels even though.
I honestly, I just need a coffee. That's where I was at.
I gotta drink my perfect amino.
I should be good this morning. My cranky pants is over.
Oh, you stay there, I can move over
No,
there.
it's fine. I don't mind. I really don't.
I see you, Catherine. I see that. That's awesome. You're on mute though. I can't hear what you're saying.
I got mine twice a
Good
day,
job.
every day.
Excellent. Yeah, I just took my 10.
Are we? I think if you want to start, Chase, and then we won't worry about the other people. I wanted to record this.
Go for it.
I think I am. Pause, stop recording. Okay. I think it must be. I think we are recording. Okay, we are recording.
Right on. So we're going to go over Perfect Amino today and how it relates with you guys. There aren't very many integrated psychiatric facilities in the world. So that I'm aware of. So well done. And it's awesome. And it's a very unique opportunity for me to really get into some of the more intricate elements of what essential amino acids and Perfect Amino do for people. You guys, is everyone on Perfect Amino here or no?
Who's taking Perfect Amino?
I do, I take it.
I take it.
I
Three.
tried it. I like the guard.
The taste sometimes, is a deterrent.
Yeah,
The
I get
strawberry is
that.
not that bad though.
Which one's not?
The strawberry and mixed berry are not that bad. The lemon lime is. Mm-mm.
I get it. Funny enough, so my lovely girlfriend's favorite flavor is lemon lime, and she so doesn't understand why people don't like it, and I'm like, I can't stand it personally. Most of us can't. It is to take something that is bitter and sulfuric and make it tasty has been an interesting challenge. Lemon lime by the end of the year will be lemonade, and it is, from what I've tasted, is way better. Strawberry, I think, is the best that we've ever done. And we have mocha. I just tried for the first time yesterday that you guys will see in a couple of weeks. I just had it with coffee. And as long as you're okay with stevia in your coffee, it's pretty freaking good.
The mocha, so you put it, you can put it in your coffee?
I literally put it in my coffee. Yeah. Yeah, it was, I did it with a strawberry too. And actually, I think strawberry in the coffee is pretty interesting. But today I'm actually going to experiment with putting mocha in almond milk and oat milk and doing some shakes with it and playing with it a bit, because I think it opens up a whole new set of doors.
Can you maybe touch on that? Because I was under the impression that you didn't want to take perfect aminos with any other proteins.
Correct. So, okay, here's the two elements of food and what happens with perfect amino. One of the things that makes perfect amino unique is everything is free form, already digested, pharmaceutical grade amino acids, ready to just be absorbed into the bloodstream. So when you have existing peptides or proteins being broken down in your stomach and perfect amino is there, perfect amino tends to bond with those peptides or proteins and in an attempt to make new proteins. It's a very messy process, obviously, from a biological standpoint. But the end result is you double the value, the utilization rate of the protein that's in your gut, and you sacrifice 50% of the protein or of the amino acids utilization rate from the perfect amino. All in all, it's still a vast improvement, and it's still in your body. It just, we don't end up with that perfect 23 minutes. It's going and being used for new cell growth. But if it tastes better, it's still better than nothing. It's still worth having in your system. So the process is a little more aggressive and a little more difficult when you're dealing with heavy proteins like meats or legumes. But when you're dealing with like protein from cheese or milk, it's very minimal. I wouldn't hesitate to make it with milk. Now, fats, on the other hand, fats coat your stomach lining where free-form nanopeptides or nutrients want to flow into your bloodstream. So if you have fats coating your stomach like bacon or olive oils, whatever, that's going to just completely retard the uptake into your system. Chances are your body will overdigest some and you'll lose a little bit, but overall it'll take a lot longer for the perfect amino to leave your gut and go to the blood to go to work. Does that make sense? Long story short, as long as you're not taking it with bacon or steak, I really don't think it's a terrible thing. What we don't want you doing is having it with collagen or BCAAs or a protein supplement or a protein drink. As long as you don't do that, I think you're okay.
So would MCT oil and things like that be included in the don't mix with list?
MCT oil is a very unique fat. MCT oil doesn't actually coat, it absorbs like a nutrient. So unlike a pig fat or a lard, MCT oil will literally absorb through your skin or through your gut lining. Your body doesn't have to digest it.
Oh, okay, great. So you could do like MCT oil and like the mocha aminos in your coffee in the morning.
Absolutely. I do it every day.
Cool.
I
Awesome.
like the mocha.
Yeah, me too.
Is that coming out?
Say what?
When's mocha coming out?
I don't know. And we have the labels, we have the signs, we have the product. It's up to marketing team to do what they do. But you guys will probably have access to it before it's actually out. So when we have sample packets, generally is going to be well after the 30 serving and 60 servings will be available because they take a lot longer. So, but yeah, we'll make sure you have some to try. Just have Danielle get them. So amino acids, this is, when we talk about amino acids, there's so much just misinformation and confusion about what actually is an amino acid, what is a protein, what is a carbohydrate. We just kind of assume we understand it. So an amino acid, as you see in the side here, is a 2-to-1 ratio of hydrogen to carbon and oxygen. with a single nitrogen molecule. If you remove this nitrogen molecule, you now have a carbohydrate. So when you're eating proteins or eating protein shakes, when we talk about utilization rate, that's the ability for your body to keep the nitrogen molecule connected to use for new cells. If this nitrogen molecule is removed because it can't be used, you now have sugar intake, which is inflammation, weight gain, bloating, overuse of the kidneys, overworking the kidneys, all sorts of problems. So in cancer patients, this is a major issue since the majority of their systems are close to being shut down. They can have too much protein, their bodies can't digest it, it makes them feel like crap. And overall, roughly 1 in 3 cancer patients recovering from chemo that die or seem to have died are found to have died from protein energy malnutrition, where they just can't digest the proteins that they're given, which is how Perfect Amino, by the way, was invented. It was created, millions of dollars in research on how to give amino acids that could be utilized to cancer patients in Spain. This isn't an invention of Body Health or Dr. Minkoff. It was simply a product that he found and brought over to the United States after researching and spending a lot of time with the eccentric creator. So we all know that like Earth is made from these exact same things. Amino acid, nitrogen is life. Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen. The word nitrogen is translated to Greek into amino. Amino is the essence of life. It's been talked about for hundreds and thousands of years. But what we know now is that in order for our bodies to develop cells as needed for everything from tissues and muscle, which is what marketing worlds try to tell us, we have whey protein, pea protein, BCAAs, collagen, all of these multi-million-dollar industries that have to find a way to make their products worth spending money on, convolute what actually is, right? Because this is what marketing does. Zeolite is a prime example of this. It's a heavy metal product that was actually found to remove a single heavy metal, and a genius marketing team turned it into the wave of the future for heavy metal removal. And it doesn't actually do it. It actually is harmful to humans. But still to this day, practitioners across the world think zeolite's a good product because the marketing was amazing. Same thing with proteins. Whey protein was a waste product that the American Dairy Farmers Association convinced the world was perfect for bodybuilders, even though most bodybuilders end up with kidney issues, and their normal cycle is build up, bulk up, and then cut down, bulk up and cut down, get bigger, and then reduce the fat that they put on by getting bigger. Like that makes any sense, but it doesn't. It's really, most of the proteins we eat are 85% sugar. Does that make sense? Is this new data? Is this, I can't tell. Right on.
I know.
Can you see us?
I can see you.
Okay.
I just see no reactions. Like, oh yeah, we know this.
It is a little early for us.
I know. And I'm on my second cup of coffee. I don't know what to tell you. Say what?
What did you?
I just didn't realize there was that much sugar, content in the proteins,
Yeah, it's why, so carnivores, I know out in the West Coast, you guys don't have a lot of carnivores, but the carnivore movement's picking up. And the common thought is our brains need carbohydrates to live. So if you were to live on nothing but meat, you would die. And at the same time, you have all this contra evidence of people eating nothing but meat and having better physiques and are thriving on a neurological basis. And we're like, well, how does that work? The reality is even though they're eating nothing but meat, they're still getting plenty of carbohydrates because the majority of what they eat turns to glucose. If you have 1 pound of meat, which is supposed to be pure protein, really less than 14% of that is going to be actual protein that's going to be used in the body. So it's what you do. Okay. As a side note, there was a guy I did a training with yesterday that took this data and this shot here and really kind of expounded on it on a level. That was very interesting. So according to what we know about farming and earth, this is everything that is life. Like dirt, the earth is made of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Nitrogen is the essence of life. So we need nitrogen to have rich soil. We need nitrogen to have all the nutrients that we want in a farm. It just makes sense that nitrogen is the thing that we want in our body. So in the human body, there are 50,000 unique proteins. That's all there is. If you break our body down, you have proteins that require amino acids to be built. You have fat and you have water. That's it. So when we're talking about our diet, our ability to produce a enzyme or a peptide or a hormone or a tissue or a ligament or bone, all of it is an input required from amino acids. Now, there's thousands, hundreds. There's hundreds of amino acids in the world, but our body only recognizes 22 of them. Out of that 22, to say that there are anything above and beyond those 22, our body doesn't even use. It doesn't know how to do anything with. It's not bioavailable. It just comes in one side, out the other, right? Of those 22, 14 are non-essential. Now, when you're talking about metabolisms, like we use the word a lot, like, oh, I've got a slow metabolism, I've got a fast metabolism. It makes a lot of sense, I guess, when you say it, like you know what it is. But our metabolism is our body's ability to make a new cell and break down an old cell. The new cell is made from essential amino acids. The old cell has non-essential amino acids ripped apart, right? This is how we get non-essentials or make amino acids, is break down an old cell that needs to be replaced. And that gives us the non-essentials. So histidine, arginine, all of these amino acids, our body says, cool, I need these. So we're going to take apart this guy. And now I have these to build this guy. That's how that works. The 8 essential amino acids are essential because our body has to get them from an outside source. It's the only ones, right? We can make non-essentials at will. With these 22 amino acids, we can literally produce every cell in the body. That's hemoglobin, that's platelets, that's white blood cells, that's T cells, that's everything. I can't stress this enough. Your thyroid gland, every gland, that's all it's made of. And your body's access to it in abundance is what allows it to be handled. If you limit or restrict or don't meet your body's needs of essential amino acids, your body has to decide what's important. It can't make it up, right? So whether that's tissue being taken apart or your immune system being compromised or not having enough stomach acid, your body makes the decision. You have nothing to do with it. We have nothing to do with it. Your body says, here's the checklist. You're giving me this much food and I'm going to make these things. And everything below that line is just going to get avoided. I don't need it to survive. Does that make sense? Right? Oh, maybe. Okay. I hope it makes sense. I can't hear you. So yeah, there you go. That's actually in there. Look at that. Does anybody have questions on this? That's a lot. I just said a lot. Right on. Okay. Nailed it.
In your product, how many amino acids are in that?
8. Just 8. There's no excipients. There's nothing in it but those 8. When you're dealing, actually, correct that. When you're dealing with the tablets, when you're dealing with the powder, obviously there's an excipient. There's an anti-clumping agent that is called sunflower lecithin, which is natural, and a little fruit. So, but when you're dealing with the tablets, there's nothing in it but those 8. So cancer patients, people with I'm allergic to everything, can take it without problems.
Well, that's awesome.
Catherine, you have a question? Nope. Okay, cool. So moving on. Yeah, say that one more time.
Do you have to chew the tablets or can you just take them like a pill?
It's already digested. The chewing is just a system of digestion, right? That's the initial element. But no, they're already digested. You put them in your gut, they dissolve within 23 minutes. Right on? Right on. So this, I'm just going to pull through these real quick. Oops, back it up. So when we have protein deficiency, everything through the bottom of that list, like primary things the brain or the body needs to do, keep the brain functioning, put the body to sleep, wake the body up, digest the food that you put in. This is actually number one, right? For most people, but unfortunately, more often than not, the body says, that's not what we're going to do. We're going to keep the heart pumping instead, or really base our rudiment, most basic datums of how the body stays alive. Because most people are exceptionally deficient. If you look at, people that everyone says they eat healthy, right? That's the number one response I get from. I don't care if a guy's got a Red Bull in his hand and he's giving his kid a Coca-Cola. If you ask him directly, so what's your diet like? Oh, I eat really clean. Yeah. It floors me, but it's to be expected. Everyone thinks so. Nobody actively says, yeah, no, I want to eat like crap. I think that's what I want to do with my life. Long life. I mean, maybe there are those people out there, but for the most part, people don't even understand that even if you eat healthy and you eat clean and you think you're eating enough protein, chances are you're really not, because you're led to believe that all protein is the same and you have to eat, once you reach this range of like 0.8 grams per pound or whatever, you're good. And that's just not true, especially with the popularity of plant-based diets today. You need plant-based protein is so much lower utilized than meat protein, and meat protein, you've got to eat pounds of it to not be deficient. This is what getting old is. It's why supplements are important. But unfortunately, our bodies get to the point to where we can't digest supplements, so there's no point, right? Like, again, I live in Tampa, Florida, so I work actually with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers often, and specifically with the coaches. And Tom Brady comes to town and he's got a pea-based protein, and it's like, oh, this is amazing. Really, it's at best 14% utilized. And in his gut is exceptional. It's 14% utilized. That's it. So he's not doing anything incredible other than being complete, handling all inflammation that he's ever had. And now he's 44 years old and he's performing at an exceptionally high level. But really, that's just what life's like when you handle inflammation. It doesn't even begin to touch what he could be like if his body was getting the protein that it wanted. He wouldn't have to have knee surgeries, no matter how minor they are, or aches and pains. It's when your body's physically hurt, that's a priority for your body's amino acid inputs. If they're not there, it just doesn't deal with it, which is what football players are used to, right? They spend their entire life that way. So, getting back on track, weak hair and nails. Now, when you guys are dealing with collagens, it turns out I can't press a button. When you guys are dealing with collagens, which I'm sure everyone does, it's in your makeup, it's in your foods, and collagen is like the new buzzword for everything in marketing. Collagens for the first point, really eating collagen doesn't make collagen. That's not how reality works. It is a wonderful marketing strategy to say, if I eat chicken collagen, suddenly my skin and hair and nails and tendons and muscles and everything's better. But in reality, human collagen requires an amino acid that's just not there. It's not in any animal collagens. It's called tryptophan. So it's funny, like we all know one animal that has tryptophan in it, and that's what?
Turkey.
That's right. All it has is some tryptophan in it. And our concept of this makes you go to sleep. It has nothing to do with all the carbohydrates and sugar you put in your body on that day. It's just the turkey. If you avoid the turkey, everything's okay, and you can watch football all day and you'll be fine.
Does collagen made from algae or plant sources have different amino acids in it?
I'm not sure what collagen is. So collagen as it is, what plant source makes collagen?
My sister's been trying this collagen that she puts in her coffee, and it's made from a type of algae. I can have her get me more information because I wasn't sure, but because she's a vegetarian, so she
Sure.
get made of like a plant source. And I
Sure.
think that would have different amino acids in it than collagen made from an animal source.
Yes, it totally would. It sounds like a spirulina type of a protein. By definition, collagen can't be in an animal, or it can't be not be in an animal, right? Like
Oh.
that's,
Okay.
yeah, it is an animal byproduct. It is not a vegetable byproduct. So this sounds like something where a company has said, these are the things that are in collagen, and here it is in a plant source.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, which is, yeah, totally fine. Now, most likely, so plant sources in general also are lower in certain essential amino acids, which is why the utilization rate's lower. So here's a base datum of understanding here. Amino acids' ability to be used to make new cells is based on the lowest factoring essential amino acid. So you can have 100 milligrams or 100 grams of 7 of the essential amino acids and 1 gram of tryptophan or any of them. And that becomes your limiting factor for the utilization rate. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right? So when you're dealing with BCAAs, that's literally 3 essential amino acids. By definition and by scientific datum or stable base understanding of everything we base our sciences off of, it's 100% sugar, or it's at least sugar to the level of which existing amino acids in your blood from the rest of your diet are there. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so that, by the way, that reference point, are you guys familiar with the DRI, the daily reference intake? It's what supplemental facts are made off of.
No.
So that's listed there, as is, funny enough, like if you actually read that, when you're dealing with plant-based proteins, they're very, very clear that you can have a wonderful plant-based protein diet and be successful, but it requires great variance in the plants that you take in, because all of them individual, if you're looking at like, oh, I eat pea protein. Pea protein is exceptionally low in three of the amino acids. Same thing with bananas. Like you can eat bananas and get tryptophan. It's less than 0.016% of a banana, but it's there, right? So you've got to eat a lot of it to get an exceptional amount of tryptophan, which it is lacking 3 other essential amino acids. So you see what I'm saying? Like you've got to vary your plant-based diet greatly to get the same effects that you can from eating a chicken or a ribeye or an egg or whatever, which mainly contain the essential amino acids with trace amounts of everything else. So omnivores obviously are what we're designed to be in a genetic standpoint, but it works. So back to collagen, hair, skin, and nails. When people take collagen and they think it's doing something successful for them, lysine and isoleucine are both disposed of in the body through the hair and the nails. So its inability to work and be absorbed is the same thing that's granting it continued success. Because people take it and they're like, oh, my nails are so much stronger and my hair is growing so much faster. And that is by default what shows that it's not working, which is funny. So weak hair and nails is something that happens when you are overall deficient in proteins. Like your body isn't getting it. When you're getting it and you're not utilizing it, you're going to have stronger hair and nails. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Same thing with poor skin quality. Skin quality is collagen. So if you eat collagen and then take tryptophan, you're most likely going to have better skin. If you just take tryptophan or just have collagen, life isn't going to get better for you in any real way. Or it's going to be dependent on the rest of your diet. Dementia is something, oops, I pressed the button again. Dementia is something that do you guys deal with this often?
Dementia?
Early onset dementia, failure, loss of memory, confusion.
Not really.
Okay, cool. We're going to skip over that. Hormonal imbalances is something that happens all the time. Now, the words imbalance in the medical field over the past 30 years of my life have been kind of this area where the lack of clarification led me to disbelief or not to trust anything that anyone told me, right? Like I was told that I had imbalances growing up as a kid, and really I was addicted to sugar, which makes you roller coaster. hormonal imbalances are identifiable, but the reasons, as I've stated earlier, if you don't have the actual input, your body can't make it. It can't balance it. Your body has full capability unless it's been physically damaged or there's some sort of genetic abnormality that exists. Your body can handle it. It just needs the inputs. So cofactors are super important. When you guys are working with any patients that have hormonal imbalances or their thyroid's overacting or they've got low adrenaline, low adrenals, they're fatigued easily, get them perfect amino, get them omegas, like make sure their omega-3 specifically are in, maybe evening primrose oil, vitamin E. Handle those and you're most likely good. You're most likely going to see them start correcting and having more energy rather quickly. The only other cofactor would most likely be magnesiums. I say plural because our body needs more than one. Like if you're just giving a magnesium citrate like a calm like we produce, it's gonna help them, but it's not gonna help all of them, right? Our bodies need variance. Does anybody see anything here that they would like me to cover?
Can you go over sleep problems, please?
Sleep problems that's actually really interesting. So when we eat, it takes on average eat proteins like dinner, it takes 2 to 3 hours to have the digestion process get to a point where we start getting amino acids, right? We take food in our mouth, we start chewing it, that begins the breakdown process. In our stomach, it gets to peptides, which are medium chain proteins. And then once it gets into our upper intestine, provided we have really good digestion, those peptides are broken into amino acids that are absorbed. So that's a 3-hour process. So first sleep problems that exist are people that eat too late. And our bodies don't have the tools to make the hormones needed to fall asleep. Because the first 3 hours are a high energy output digestion. It takes a lot of effort to digest. Now, sleeping itself requires physical material to make melatonin, serotonin, tryptophan as a singular amino acid is super important for sleep. Dopamine, these are all required to go to sleep and sleep soundly. If it don't have it, we can't sleep well. We struggle with sleep. Now, in addition to that, the 1 hour, if we're lucky, the 1 hour of deep sleep we get a night is where the majority of our physical body repair cycles happen. So if our tissue's damaged from working out or overstressed, or you did something and didn't stretch right, or you had surgery, that 1 hour sleep is where the majority of effort is put from the body from an energetic standpoint to fix that issue. It requires, again, a mass amount of material to do that. It can't make it up, right? Like the best it can do is rip apart something else, other cells, other proteins, in an effort to make new cells and proteins, which is the majority of what happens when people start atrophy. Atrophy is that. It is self-eating to try to make something else that it needs. At that point, usually it's hormonal. And it'll take apart physical cells to make hormonal cells or hemoglobin or platelets, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when you're taking amino acids, but I tell people, you want to start your morning, very first thing, take your perfect amino. Right before you go to sleep, take your perfect amino. Because within 23 minutes of you falling asleep, it probably takes between 10 to 20 minutes to fall asleep. If you're really tired, 3 to 5 minutes, whatever. By the time you're in deep sleep, your body's got everything it needs to make all the hormones it wants to make to keep you asleep, keep you from having nightmares. It has everything you need to keep your blood flowing and the body repair systems happening.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions on this page?
So my question is, you said take your perfect aminos right before you go to sleep. Because I know like in our house, we take them first thing in the morning and then usually like right before a workout. Because I feel like I get kind of like an energy boost because of all the aminos. And I feel like if you take it right before sleep, that kind of boosts, like kind of revs you up.
Sure.
Anybody have issues with that?
If you do, that is directly related to an adrenal issue that your body wants to correct. And I would recommend taking more aminos more often, just for a little while, and then that won't be a problem anymore. So
Awesome. Thanks.
no problem. So to help you understand this a little better, amino acids, right? So to be utilized at 99 to 100%. If you guys have ever looked, on the back of this, you'll see the calorie content is 2. So basic datums that we know from protein and sugar both are 4 calories per gram, right? Calorie is a measure of heat. It is a measure of energy. It means without a doubt, our body is not using this to make new cells. If it's a calorie, it's being used for energy, which means it's being turned to glucose. So for a product to give you energy, it is producing energy without calories. It's producing hormones that are getting you through that. That's just an uptick. Your body's saying, I'm going to use this to make that, not I'm going to take this and burn it to keep going. Right? So if you look at a product that is 10 grams, a 10-gram scoop of protein powder, if it's got 40 calories in it, you know that is 40 grams or 40 calories from 4 grams per gram, 4 calories per gram. Geez, let me start over. 4 calories per gram times 10 is being wasted. So the product is completely catabolic. It's completely used for energy. It's not being used to make new cells. They're using the math that exists that's right there in front of us that their marketing can't hide from. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So when you take this before bed, it does the exact opposite. It gives your body the tools it needs to do exactly what it wants to do. So when you take it during the day, your body wants to get going. When you take it at night, your body wants to go to sleep. Follow, Catherine? I don't know. I can't see you or hear you.
Yes, good.
Right on. Cool. Now, other questions in that?
Can you go over sore, achy joints?
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Can you please go over sore, achy joints?
Yes. So soreness, again, is your body telling you that there's physical damage present. Achiness, same kind of thing, right? It's just a different level. Now, that's physical repair. Sore and achy joints, generally speaking, are the same things that collagen tries to handle that aren't, with a caveat that it's also possible magnesium or B12 deficiencies, right? Because those are the 2 cofactors that are needed to make the collagen in most tissue in the joints. So taking it before bed, making sure magnesium's in, and making sure they're not deficient in B12. If they're vegetarians, this is a big indicator that you need to get them a good B12 supplement, because they are going to be. There's just B12 is really hard to get adequate amounts in vegetables or fruits. You can, obviously, but it requires a lot of effort. So just augmenting their diet based on that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That answer your question?
Yeah.
Is there more there?
No.
Cool, that works. Okay, anything else?
You want to touch depression and anxiety real quick, just since that's what we
Yes. So, and I've kind of touched on this. It's the same elements with hormonal imbalances. Depression and anxiety generally are going to be affected. Your ability to make dopamine and serotonin, or in a lot of cases, curb cortisol, which cortisol will lead to anxiety, is based on your body's ability to produce those hormones. It happened. It's kind of it's not even something that you really have to put effort in. So I myself, I'm now 2.5 years into a very brutal divorce. I actually started working at Body Health with Dr. Minkoff 2 weeks before my ex-wife took our kids and disappeared. So easily the highest stress point of my entire life has been every moment of working for this company. And I have never been so rolls off my back in my entire life. I mean, from the moment it is, like, you take the news and you're like, man, that's really terrible. Let's handle it. And I know for a fact it is directly related to my ability to not get stressed out about it. And that is directly related to Perfect Amino. I don't know. I don't know that I could come up with a more high stress situation that I could compare it to and not really have it affect me. Like, I've been in better shape, in better emotional standpoint in mind, than any point in my life, from young to old. So, yeah, it just kind of happens. It's not something that's really even bragged about. It just makes sense when you understand that your body requires inputs to make these things, and it's not something that magically can just be corrected by taking something that's going to activate something else in your brain or in your body, right? You have to have the physical material there. It can't just appear. Now it doesn't want to move. Okay, cool. So these are on the sides of the bottles. This is a tool that you can really use to help people understand, provided a little bit of understanding yourself. Egg protein, you'll notice, is the next thing below perfect amino. When you eat an egg is roughly 3 grams of protein. It's about this big. And that 3 grams of protein has roughly 1.4 grams of utilizable amino acids. So me at 185 pounds needs to eat roughly 63 to 65 eggs a day, not to be deficient in protein. So, yeah. And again, talking about meat being the one that is way more efficient than vegetables, and vegetables requiring, eating a lot more volume to get the same amount of protein or amino acid content. There's a gentleman, good friend of mine, when I met him, he was a pure vegan, had been there for 4 months, and the dude was ripped. Physically, he weighed about 155, 160 pounds, shredded, was in pain all the time, didn't sleep. And he ate a cooler, like one of those Hungry Man coolers, like 2-gallon coolers full of vegetables every day at lunch. Like I would sit down and watch him eat 3 avocados, a whole bushel of bananas, like tomatoes. Like he just ate a cooler full of produce at lunch. I'm sure he did it all day. It was the majority of his diet. It was amazing to watch him eat this, but he was always sore, like to the point to where he was ineffective at everything. Finally, I gave him perfect amino and he wouldn't take it, obviously, because you can't give somebody something and have them go, yeah, let's do that, and really buy into it, right? You have no exchange. They need to exchange something, right? You can give a family member who's dying perfect amino and they'll be like, yeah, I'll take it, and it'll sit on their counter. They won't try it because they've got nothing invested in it. But so this happened to him and he never took it. Then he started eating some eggs. He introduced eggs, and suddenly he was vibrant and healthy and he could work and he wasn't sore. And, he's like, yeah, so turns out that didn't work. I'm like, yeah, you couldn't eat enough. Like physically, you can't eat enough. You don't have enough time in the day to not be amino acid deficient. And I know that's obviously a hot button topic in today's world because the plant-based protein diet is so huge. Yeah, but it is what it is. I just deal with it from the amino acid and the more chemistry level than the emotional level. So being vegan is totally fine. I love it. It's great. Take amino acids because otherwise you just can't eat enough. So you do it from a percentage standpoint and understand that soy and protein powders, blah, blah, that et cetera, really is also legumes and plant-based proteins are all at 18% or less utilized. And that's if your stomach is in good condition. Once you're over 40, that starts dropping at a rate on average of 10% per 5 years. Right? So if you're in the best health of your life, you're just going to stop. I mean, that we get old because we stop having the ability to properly digest proteins, and we stop getting the materials to make our skin tight, to have good tendons, to get up in the morning, to sleep past 2 a.m. Anyone ever wondered why you get older, suddenly you sleep less? I thought it was interesting. So, protein utilization rates, major protein sources. Again, it says soy power, the soy protein. Well, I guess it does say soy protein there. So, kind of puts it in perspective. It's the two, when you're looking at whey, like milk protein. Where's my mouse? There we go. Milk protein, soy, legumes, whatever, and meat. There's not a lot of difference there, right? It's not one's better than the other. They're both deficient. These guys, if they're just living off of plant-based proteins, they've got to eat twice as much as a meat-based protein does. That's not a big deal. They're still both deficient 90% of the time, right? It's very few people that can live a healthy lifestyle off of very minimal food for a long period of time, but it does exist. Obviously, they're just, well, better genes than most. So I went into anabolic pathways, the anabolic versus metabolic. I'm going to just touch on that one more time so we understand. So to be anabolic is to build new cells. When we're fasting, for instance, this is a process in which we're making our bodies actively break down old cells in preparation for our next meal. That breaking down of old cells is how we clean, it's how we detox, and it's super important for health because otherwise things stay stagnant and cells don't turn over. The challenge there is we're not building new cells. So our body will also break down quality cells, good cells, live cells, in an effort to keep functional and primary systems operational. It's to be expected, right? That's why muscle mass depletes while we're fasting. Extended fasts, you just end up looking emaciated, even if it's a water fast. Perfect Amino as a product is 10 tablets is between 2 to 4 calories, I guess. It really depends on the tested batch, but either way, it's between 0.2 and 0.4 calories per gram. It doesn't activate your pancreas, your gallbladder, your esophageal sphincter. It doesn't activate anything that cancels autophagy or cancels your body's desire to continue breaking down damaged cells, which is important because now you can fast while still being anabolic, still giving your body the material it needs to make new cells. Because the metabolic process, again, is break down a damaged cell because you're building a replacement. That's how it should be. That's how it's supposed to be in my brain, because I've always fasted with Perfect Amino since I began fasting. So I can't imagine doing it the other way. I've tried it and it's terrible. And I guess it is a religious experience for some to just fast. I talked to a guy yesterday, fasted for 40 days and I'm like, on water and no Perfect Amino. He's like, yeah. I'm like, that it looks like it. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. That's incredible. Good for you. He's like, yeah, I talked to Jesus. I'm like, I bet you did. So yeah, taking Perfect Amino while fasting is completely acceptable. Doesn't break a fast. It keeps you in autophagy, and at the same time, you'll lose body fat percentage and gain overall body mass. Whether that's bone density, organ density, muscle density, it really depends on the individual. We have no control over it, but generally speaking, you will gain total weight while losing body mass if you're taking enough Perfect Amino while fasting. So there was a study done by a gentleman named John Jaquish. Anybody know that name?
No.
Cool. Okay, cool. John Jaquish is a PhD. He's also a bodybuilder, and he discovered Perfect Amino a couple years ago, and had been studying amino acids for years, but really decided to do some testing with it. He did a 7-day fast. During that 7 days, he took 10 grams of Perfect Amino every 3 hours, like with the exception of while he was sleeping, and worked out 2 hours a day while he was fasting. So he did a 5-day fast. End result was a 3.5% loss in body fat and a net gain of 7 pounds of body weight. It's totally fasted, skin's beautiful. All metrics tested showed that he was in a fasted state the entire time, and total body mass increased, right? So Florian, he's done that test now 3 or 4 times. He actually has a company that is technically competition for Perfect Amino and body health, but we play in 2 different grounds. Dr. Minkoff obviously works in the cancer treatment, autoimmune disorders. We work in the clinical side, and Jaquish works specifically with bodybuilders and biohackers and people trying to be ripped and big and muscular, and that's his world. But the data doesn't change, right? Like you will be anabolic and fasted. So if fasting is something that's important to you, you can safely do it. Anybody have questions on this? I was told this was kind of a big deal. Okay, cool. Well, now, oh, look, there was another one. So I went over here. Now, when you're dealing with cancer patients again, or long-term bodybuilders, kidney issues are something that you hear people say, I don't need to take protein. My oncologist said I don't need proteins because my kidneys can't handle it. Dialysis patients can take Perfect Amino. There is no kidney interaction. It's already digested. All it wants to do is get in your bloodstream and go to work, right? If you take more than 10 grams, your body, well, first off, your body doesn't hold on to amino acids. There's no storage system for this. When they're in your blood, you have a 2 to 3 hour window for them to be utilized to make new cells or to be turned to a carbohydrate, converted to gluconeogenesis and become sugar for your body to spend as energy or go through the waste channels, whatever. Like 2 to 3 hours, that's it. There's no, I'm going to use this for later and wait till I get more. That's not how that works. So you can take Perfect Amino every 2 to 4 hours and have all of it utilized, none of it turned catabolic, and it just builds cells. So if you want to really put your foot down and handle a problem, it can be done, and it can be done rather quickly. So does that make sense?
Yes.
Right on? No questions. Cool. Oops, back it up. There it is. So some sample questions. I will wrap it up there. It's what, 8:55 over there. So I don't know how much more time you guys have. Does anybody have questions they want to ask while I'm here about themselves or a family member or a loved one or a patient or otherwise? I'm here to help.
Where do they come from, the amino acids? Are they lab made? Or are they derived from?
So amino acids, the ones we make, there's a lot of processes to make them, and a lot of products are generally cooked up in a kitchen. Ours, we have a vat that is considered a plant slurry. It is just plant material, trees, wood, bark, whatever, ground up. You add water to it, and you introduce 8 specific bacteria to it. Each bacteria produces a specific amino acid. You collect the bacteria, put them in a centrifuge, and extract the pure amino acid from them. So it is vegan, unless you consider all living organisms of all shapes and sizes to be living organisms, and in which case I think, I don't know, but it's technically vegan.
Cool.
Yeah, more questions?
Do you mind just touching on, oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, do you mind just touching on protein deficiency and the early onset dementia?
Sure. So actually, hold on, let me ask the other question. I'm going to pull up something for you in regards to that.
I was just gonna ask about the last question on your page. What are other products that you would recommend taking with the amino acids?
So calcium, omega-3s, and not calcium, I said calcium, that's wrong. Magnesium, omega-3s, and usually B12. Hold on, dementia.
I heard that on your Facebook page that the reds that you have, Perfect Amino Reds. What's the difference? That people really like that for energy?
My my girlfriend takes them every morning. She actually just asked me this morning if we make a bigger size than the 30 serving. She has them every day. Yeah, it's wonderful for your energy.
What else is in it?
So it is mainly, it's pretty much every red phytonutrient we could get, or red vegetable or fruit we could get a hold of. But it is mainly organic beet sugar and cordyceps, which are a mushroom. But it also has reishi mushrooms. Oh Lord, I'd have to pull up all of them, but it's a lot. Dr. Minka, it's one of those products, so every product that we carry here. So I don't know if you guys know this, everybody that doesn't know, Dr. Minkoff runs a functional medicine clinic. He's a double board certified MD. His clinic is 15,000 square feet, 25,000 square feet, one of the two. He's got 3 buildings that it operates out of, so it's kind of hard to measure it that way. but he's also a professional Ironman competitor, which is 100 and some odd mile triathlon. The products that he makes either directly answer his patient need, or they directly answer his own personal need from an athletic standpoint. So like you look at our body health bars, he's like, I buy a box of keto brownie or bulletproof bars every week, and I have for years. This is stupid. Why don't I just make a bar that's everything I want it to be? So he made one, and it reads as good as either of those, but tastes a little better. Sure, why not? Reds are in that category. He used to take beet reds every morning for a workout. He'll tell you directly that this isn't a product that is going to show you much from a medical standpoint. It does increase nitric oxide, but there's better products to do that if that's your only goal. But if you're looking to work out, it's a great pre-workout. He uses it every day for that. And most people will notice a good jolt. Not everyone, which is fine. It's not a medical product. H2 is another one that's in that category. There's one manufacturer for that in the world. They've owned the patent and will for the next 20 years. It's an incredible product. And he was buying it from Dr. Mercola forever and decided to make one that was a higher ppm, got with the company, made one that's a little higher ppm. It's, you know, we will be completely transparent with all of our products as much as, you know, legally possible. But yeah, like when we make something cool, we'll tell you guys. You guys have to know for a fact where it is, what it comes from, and why it exists. So yeah, if you ever want to know, just ask. So I'm going to share this screen with you if I can. Stop sharing. Share that one. So protein deficiency in brain plays key role in early onset dementia. This is a study that's actually relatively new in the world. It's about 9 years old. And it's since then, unfortunately, I didn't have the time to go find the actual research page, but this works. Dr. Faris found out and has since realized the interaction that's causing onset dementia by inflammation due to an amino acid deficiency. So I will totally send this to you if you want to read it and check it out. But if you want to look into Dr. Faris, there you go. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? You've got me, I'm here.
Awesome. Are all the most of the products have the perfect aminos, like the milk, like the meal replacements? Is that still perfect aminos, but you're just getting more?
Yeah, you will see in this coming year. So if you guys have been paying attention, obviously 10 to 20 grams or more a day of essential amino acids is what, you know, we really need. And to tell a patient take 10 tablets twice a day obviously reduces a lot of buy-in. So, you know, we make the powder and then people are like, oh, the stevia or the taste, I can't do that. And now the reduction, right? Or the lack of buy-in or the not desire to take as much as they need. Dr. Minkoff's decided that we're going to put perfect amino in multiple products. So it'll be in the reds, it'll be in the greens. It currently is in Power Meal, which acts as the amino acid or the protein element, like via essential amino acids. So you would, looking at a meal replacement, it is perfect greens, a serving of perfect greens or 1/3 of a scoop. It's carb 10, which is a low glycemic, diabetic friendly carbohydrate. So it doesn't spike insulin, right? Or give you much of a sugar. It doesn't break a fast if you're doing a ketosis fast. So you can have it to kind of like help bridge that gap to get to intermittent fasting for somebody who's got a little bit of an insulin resistance. And that's 1, 2, and yeah, that's it. Oh, MCT oil for the fat. So, because again, like MCT oil is a unique fat, it absorbs into our intestine. It doesn't actually coat it. So yeah, we will see perfect amino in everything or close to everything. That way patients could take multiple products and get it via those products as opposed to having to take a mass amount all at once.
Awesome.
Make sense?
I have a quick question. Can you take the perfect reds with also a scoop of just the normal amino acids? Can you do both, or should you separate them?
You can do it all together. Like Tara, my girlfriend, she does reds, calm, Perfect Amino, lemon lime, and mixed berry. Am I missing anything? Nope, that's it. Those four all together at once. So yeah, she's actually sitting right here aside from me. We share a desk at home. So
And then you were telling me about, or Mingtoff said that we can crush the tablets and use them rectally.
that's correct. If there's multiple issues, handle that. Like if they're having a problem absorbing, or the leaky gut's so bad, obviously you've got to take extreme measures. Crushing it, adding it to water, 10 cc's rectally, be good to go. They'll absorb it that way. So, because yeah, the colon will absorb a lot of nutrients.
The
Sorry?
dose is the same.
I didn't hear you.
The dosing is the same.
It is the same. It is the same. You can do it 3-4 times a day. Generally speaking, within a couple of weeks, their gut's going to be in a much better position. So the body wants to repair itself. It doesn't want to be in that condition.
Okay, awesome. Do you guys have any more questions? Well, thanks for your time, Chase. We really appreciate it. And it's great information.
Right on. Do me a favor. Feel free. Lee's got my number, my cell phone number. Any of you that want it, take it. Feel free to text me on the side whenever a patient comes up, a question comes up. That's what I'm here for. I'm just here to educate.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chase.
Right on. Bye, guys.